Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour. Donald Trump says Saudi Arabia's one move would end Russia-Ukraine war immediately, urges Saudi Arabia and OPEC nations to reduce oil prices. US President Donald Trump says he could reach trade deal with China instead of putting tariff. Beijing says China, US can solve differences with dialogue and consultation. Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto arrives in New Delhi on his first state visit to India to grace the Republic Day celebrations as the chief guest. And in Australia Open, Alexander Zverev reaches final. Injury forces Novak Djokovic to concede. US President Donald Trump has called on Saudi Arabia and the other organization of the petroleum exporting countries or the OPEC nations to reduce oil prices, asserting that lower prices would help bring the war between Russia and Ukraine to an immediate end. Addressing the World Economic Forum being held at Davos, Switzerland, virtually, Trump said he was surprised that it did not happen before his election.
And I'm also going to ask Saudi Arabia and OPEC to bring down the cost of oil. You got to bring it down, which frankly, I'm surprised they didn't do before the election. That didn't show a lot of love by them not doing it. I was a little surprised by that. If the price came down, the Russia-Ukraine war would end immediately.
Laying out a vision for American economic prosperity, Trump promised global elites lower taxes if they bring manufacturing to the US and threatened to impose tariffs if they don't. He also assured incentivizing companies to facilitate business there. He thus laid out a carrot and stick approach for private investment in the US to strengthen the economy.
My message to every business in the world is very simple. Come make your product in America, and we will give you among the lowest taxes of any nation on earth. We're bringing them down very substantially, even from the original Trump tax cuts. But if you don't make your product in America, which is your prerogative, then very simply you will have to pay a tariff, differing amounts, but a tariff which will direct hundreds of billions of dollars and even trillions of dollars into our treasury to strengthen our economy and pay down debt.
Amid Trump's tariff row, World Trade Organization chief has said that trade wars would have catastrophic consequences for global growth. At the World Economic Forum session on trade, WTO chief urged states to refrain from retaliation.
If we have tit-for-tat retaliation, whether it's 25%, tariff 60%, and we go to where we were in the 1930s, we are going to see double-digit global GDP losses. Double-digit. That's catastrophic. Everyone will pay. Everyone. And the poor countries will pay even more.
Making a U-turn from his earlier statements regarding tariffs, President Trump has now said that he could reach trade deal with China. The president said in an interview with a news channel that two countries will have a very good relationship. Trump said he would rather not use tariffs against China. In response, China on Friday said that the US, in fact, and China could resolve their differences through dialogue. Trump also said his conversation with Chinese President Xi Jinping last week was friendly and he thought he could reach a trade deal with China. The leaders discussed issues including TikTok, trade and Taiwan in a phone call before Trump took office.
A conversation with President Xi. We have problems with them. They have territorial ambitions with Taiwan, intellectual property theft, their unfair trade practices. How'd that conversation go?
It went fine. It was a good, friendly conversation. I had a great relationship with him prior to COVID. I had a very good relationship with him. I thought it was a very good conversation.
Donald Trump also called for an immediate end to the conflict in Ukraine. In an interview to a news channel, he threatened tariffs, taxes and sanctions on Russia if President Vladimir Putin refuses to negotiate a resolution to the conflict. Trump added that Putin should never have initiated the conflict.
Should end immediately. Should have never started. That would never have started if I were. I used to talk to Putin about it. Ukraine was the apple of his eye, but there was no chance that he would ever do it. And he didn't do it. Putin shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have done it, and it has to stop. Do you know they've lost about 850,000 Russian soldiers and 700,000 Ukrainian soldiers?
U.S. President Donald Trump signed an order to declassify government files related to the assassinations of former President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert Kennedy and civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. on Thursday. Trump had promised on the campaign trail to release classified intelligence and law enforcement files concerning the assassination of President Kennedy, or JFK as he was fondly known. He had made a similar commitment during his first term and in fact released some documents related to JFK's 1963 murder. The assassination of JFK in particular continues to captivate the American public. While Lee Harvey Oswald was officially named the lone gunman, the Justice Department and other federal agencies have upheld that conclusion over the years. However, public opinion polls consistently show that many Americans believe his death was part of a larger conspiracy. Meanwhile, President Trump reiterated his stand on NATO spending on Thursday, saying the U.S. was protecting NATO members, but they were not protecting them. Trump repeated demands that the other members of the transatlantic alliance spend 5% of their GDP on defense, a huge increase from the current 2% goal and a level that no NATO country, including the United States, currently reaches. Officials from NATO countries and analysts say NATO won't heed Trump's proposal for such a massive hike in defense spending, but will likely agree to go beyond its current target. Trump's new Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, spoke to NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte on Wednesday and reinforced the U.S. commitment to the alliance, while the two also discussed the importance of having capable defense allies and real burden sharing. Getting you an update on another controversial issue making news from the US, a federal judge blocked Donald Trump's administration on Thursday from implementing the executive order curtailing the right to automatic birthright citizenship in the United States. A US district judge issued temporary restraining order at the urging of 4 Democratic-led states, Washington, Arizona, Illinois, and Oregon, preventing the administration from enforcing the order. The judge says the order, which was slated to take effect in February, was blatantly unconstitutional. The ruling imposes a 14-day halt on enforcing the orders, while the judge considers whether to issue a long-lasting preliminary injunction. The judge will hear arguments over whether to do so on February 6. The case is on the 5 lawsuits being brought by 22 states and a number of immigrants' rights groups across the country. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump said his administration will appeal the decision to temporarily block the executive order restricting birthright citizenship. Trump had signed the order on Monday, his first day back in office.
Mr. President, a U.S. judge temporarily blocks the birthright citizenship order. Do you have any reaction?
No, obviously we'll appeal it. They put it before a certain judge in Seattle, I guess, right? And there's no surprises with that judge.
U.S. President Donald Trump's press secretary has said that U.S. authorities arrested 538 migrants and deported hundreds in a mass operation just days into Trump's second administration. Trump promised a crackdown on illegal immigration during the election campaign and began his second term with a flurry of executive actions aimed at overhauling entry to the United States. Newark Mayor Ras J. Baraka condemned an immigration and customs enforcement raid that detained undocumented residents and citizens without a warrant, while Congress passed a bill expanding pre-trial incarceration for foreign criminal suspects. Trump's second term began with executive actions on immigration, including a national emergency at the southern border and more troop deployments. The Laken-Riley Act, aimed at addressing crimes committed by illegal immigrants in U.S., is now headed to President Donald Trump's desk for signing. Speaker Mike Johnson on Thursday signed the bill, which had passed through the U.S. Congress with bipartisan support. The House of Representatives approved the legislation on January 22nd by a vote of 263 to 156, with 46 Democrats joining 217 Republicans in favor. The Senate had previously approved the bill, ensuring its passage despite opposition. The bill, which requires the detention of undocumented immigrants accused of theft, including shoplifting, will be the first of several steps by Republicans to tighten border security in 2025. Dozens of migrants were returned from the United States to Mexico on Thursday to the border town of Ciudad Juarez, where they were greeted by people disguised and as angels demanding protection for migrants. Meanwhile, Mexican soldiers rushed to set up emergency shelters near the border with the United States on Thursday. The Mexican government said it planned to open 9 shelters for its citizens and 3 more for deported foreigners. The United States will leave the World Health Organization next January after being formally notified of the decision by President Donald Trump. Trump has repeatedly accused the agency of mishandling the pandemic and other international health crises, and on Monday made the announcement within hours of taking oath. The WHO said on Tuesday that it regretted the move from its top donor country. Trump must give a 1-year notice of U.S. withdrawal from the Geneva-based body and pay Washington's dues under the 1948 joint resolution of the U.S. Congress. The United States is by far the WHO's biggest financial backer, contributing around 18% of its overall funding. WHO's most recent 2-year budget for 2024-25 was $6.8 billion. It was not immediately clear how much the U.S. owes. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Seoul suspects North Korea plans to send more troops to Russia-Ukraine conflict. Firefighters halt advance of latest Los Angeles wildfires as Trump to visit California and North Carolina. And India reaffirms commitment to collaborative efforts for revitalization of UN General Assembly.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Prasar Bharati. Michael Martin was elected Irish Prime Minister for the second time by a coalition of country's 2 large centre-right parties and independent lawmakers on Thursday. The coalition is the second in a row between rivals Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, with independents replacing junior coalition partner, the Green Party, which lost most of its seats. The initially scheduled vote to elect Martin on January 22nd descended into chaos when the parliament was suspended 4 times after opposition protests. An agreement by both sides that government supporting independents cannot in fact for now retain extended speaking rights from the opposition benches paved the way for Martin to be elected. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday congratulated Irish PM who is set to return for his second term in office. Taking to X, PM Modi said, and I quote, "Congratulations, Michael Martin, on assuming the office of Prime Minister of Ireland, committed to work together to further strengthen a bilateral partnership that is based on strong foundation of shared values of deep people-to-people connect." Ukraine launched a drone strike in Russia's Ryazan region early on Friday. Officials said that the emergency crews were dealing with the aftermath of the attack that sparked fire at an oil refinery. Additionally, a power station had also been hit. Russia's defense ministry said on Friday that air defense systems intercepted and destroyed 121 drones launched by Ukraine. The drones were downed over 13 Russian regions, including 7 over Moscow and the nearby region. Russia claimed its control on another settlement in Donetsk region on Thursday. The Russian Defense Ministry stated that its troops seized the village of Solone in Donetsk. Adding further, they said that country's forces conducted a strike targeting Ukrainian military airport and gas energy facilities that backs military industrial enterprises production. The ministry said that the Ukraine army lost more than 270 soldiers, 2 tanks, 7 armed vehicles and other armaments in Kursk. Meanwhile, South Korea's military has said on Friday that it suspects North Korea is preparing to send more troops to Russia to fight Ukrainian forces. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff in a statement said North Korea is suspected to be accelerating follow-up measures and preparations for an additional dispatch of troops despite multiple casualties. He said that North Korea is also preparing to launch a spy satellite and an intercontinental ballistic missile, though there were no signs of immediate action. According to Ukrainian and Western assessments, Pyongyang has deployed over 10,000 soldiers to support Moscow's forces in Russia's western Kursk region, which Ukraine seized in a surprise attack last year. Saudi Arabia's foreign minister visited Lebanon on Thursday in the first trip to Beirut by Riyadh's top diplomat in 15 years. Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud met with Lebanese officials, including Lebanese Prime Minister-designate Nawaf Salam, caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati and Parliament Speaker Nabi Berri. He also met with Lebanon's new President Joseph Aoun. The visit by Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud reflects political shifts in Lebanon since Hezbollah's Syrian ally Bashar al-Assad was toppled by rebels in December. Prince Faisal bin Farhan stressed the importance of reforms in his meeting with Aoun, voicing Saudi Arabia's optimism about the country's future and said Saudi Arabia will continue supporting Lebanon. Syria's de facto leader, Ahmad al-Shara, said his country is ready to welcome UN forces into the UN-established buffer zone with Israel. During an interview to a Turkish channel, al-Shara also mentioned that Syria has communicated to the United Nations its adherence to the 1974 agreement and readiness to receive UN forces in the buffer zone, offer protection and facilitate their positioning.
Regarding Israel's advance, Israel was looking to advance into Syria because of the presence of Iranian militia and Hezbollah. After the liberation of Syria, I believe that this pretext has been withdrawn from the Israelis and there is no longer any need for an advance into Syrian land. I believe that Syria today has just come out of an exhausting war and there are many diplomatic means, and we have spoken a lot of countries on the issue. We have sent a letter to the United Nations where we mention we are committed to the 1974 agreement and are ready to receive the United Nations forces to be in the buffer zone between us and Israel.
In Venezuela's Caracas, ruling party supporters marched to commemorate the 67th anniversary of the fall of the Marcos Perez Jimenez dictatorship and to show their backing for recently re-inaugurated President Nicolas Maduro. Waving Venezuelan flags showing rejection of opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, hundreds marched from the west of the capital to Miraflores Palace to meet with Maduro. The demonstrations come as Venezuela's National Bolivarian Armed Forces conduct a second day of military and police exercises dubbed Bolivarian Shield. The drills and the pro-government demonstration came less than 2 weeks after the controversial inauguration of Nicolas Maduro's third term. In Mexico, protesters stormed the government palace in Culiacan and pressed the authorities to address escalating regional violence. The protesters broke into the building and displayed photographs of the victims in the city's hall's central courtyard. The violence in Sinaloa has intensified in recent months, fueled by a power struggle between rival factions of the Sinaloa cartel. The conflict erupted following the high-profile arrest of legendary trafficker Ismael El Mayo Zambada on U.S. soil on July 25th. In Nigeria, at least 20 fishermen have been killed in northeastern state of Borno after Boko Haram insurgents attacked their village. The insurgents stormed the fishing community of Gadangari on Wednesday and opened fire at fishermen working in the area. Nigeria has been grappling with the 16-year-long insurgency in its northeast, driven primarily by Boko Haram and its offshoot ISWAP. That has led to huge human and economic losses, including mass displacement and a humanitarian crisis. A statue in Sydney of British explorer James Cook, captain of the first Western ship to reach the east coast of Australia, was sprayed with red paint and damaged 2 days before Australia's National Day. It was the second time the statue has been defaced and vandalized in the last year. Police said that they had begun an investigation and that several items had been found near the statue. The Australia Day holiday is known as Invasion Day, symbolizing the destruction of their cultures by European settlers. Moving on, Los Angeles wildfires continue to wreak havoc as new wildfire erupted on Otay Mountain, south of California. Thick smoke was seen rising from various regions of the mountain as the fire spread over 566 acres after it broke out in a remote spot near Otay Mountain Truck Trail. Air tankers and water-bombing helicopters along with firefighters battled the blaze on ground amid strong winds. Forecast of rain from Saturday to Monday in the region could bring some relief but also create other risks. Firefighters stopped the expansion of a new wildfire north of Los Angeles after it spread rapidly. The governor, Gavin Newsom, signed a $2.5 billion relief package after threats to withhold federal funds. U.S. President Donald Trump is due to visit the fire-wrecked Los Angeles on Friday afternoon. India's permanent representative to the United Nations, P. Harish, emphasized the need for the revitalization of United States General Assembly during the thematic debate under the ad hoc working group on GA revitalization and reiterated India's commitment to working with all members.
We reiterate that it is important to respect its position as a primary policy-making and representative organ of the UN, both in letter and spirit. We live in a time where different parts of the world are marred by conflicts and violence. The burden of delivery on the UN with regard to pressing global issues is quite pronounced. The efficacy of multilateralism would be defined by UN's ability to match these expectations. General Assembly revitalization is at the core of addressing the expectation-delivery gap.
The World Economic Forum 2025 enters its fifth and final day on Friday. The day ahead will see leaders from politics, business and civil society discuss land restoration with Executive Secretary of the United Nations Convention to combat desertification. The annual meeting will conclude with the President and CEO reflecting on learnings and progress made through the session in his closing remarks. On Thursday, US President Donald Trump made his first significant speech to world political and business leaders with his remote address, and he made important remarks on many issues such as his first 4 days at the office, global inflation, possible tariffs, and making America great again. The Davos summit included sessions on issues such as European and Indian economies, global inflation, climate change in West Asia, global risks, trade and tariffs on Thursday. The annual meeting is set to include around 220 sessions in 4 days. India's Railways and IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav held a meeting with the Prime Minister of Bhutan, sharing top gear in Davos on Friday. Both the leaders discussed rail connectivity to Bhutan and IT services. Let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. As the winter wind blows, a thick smog has engulfed Iraq's capital Baghdad as the fumes continue to be emitted by its oil-fired factories. The air quality continues to worsen in the city of 9 million inhabitants as they breathe hazardous air. Houston Zoo animals were seen playing in the snow with elephants and lions posing for the camera. Some of the animals experienced the rare snowfall for the first time. The zoo was closed due to the snowfall with 66 caretakers. The cold is expected to linger through Sunday, impacting cities from Houston to Carolinas. A coarse flower known as Putricia is blooming at the Royal Botanic Garden in Sydney. Thousands of visitors came to see the flower on Friday, which lasts just a day. It's for the first time in more than a decade that a flower has emitted an odor likened to rotting flesh, catching the attention of the local public and the tourists.
What's happened with the blooming?
Adorable animals at the Shanghai Wild Animal Park enjoyed feasts prepared by caretakers to mark the Little New Year, inviting a cheerful atmosphere at the zoo ahead of the Spring Festival. Visitors at the zoo eagerly gathered around enclosures as residents' animals received their celebration meals. For the beloved pandas, keepers prepared a feast of fruits and made steamed buns. And still to come on DD India News Hour. India's space agency ISRO all set to hit 100th launch. Stay tuned to know more. All preparations in place for 76th Republic Day. Stay with us to know more about it. And we will tell you all the updates from Mahakumbh 2025 taking place in Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj and a quick recap of headlines. Donald Trump says Saudi Arabia's one move would end Russia-Ukraine war immediately, urges Saudi Arabia and OPEC nations to reduce oil prices. US President Donald Trump says he could reach trade deal with China instead of putting tariff. Beijing says China-US can solve differences with dialogue and consultation. Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto arrives in New Delhi on his first state visit to India to grace the Republic Day celebrations as the chief guest. And in the Australian Open, Alexander Zverev reaches final. Injury forces Novak Djokovic to concede. India's premier space agency ISRO is all set for its 100th launch. The mission is likely to take place on 29th of January. It will be a GSLV mission for a navigation satellite. In an exclusive conversation with DD India's Subianto Ghosh, ISRO's new chairman, Dr. V. Narayanan, said the space agency has come a long way from its humble origins and this upcoming milestone is a matter of great pride for all Indians.
Its 100th mission and launch. What can you tell us about it and how does it pave the road ahead?
In fact, it is to think itself, it is a very so exciting to think. 1979, we had the first SLV rocket launch. Of course, we had a small setback in that, and then 80, we had the first successful SLV-3. From that, we have come a long way. From Sriharikota, from 3 launch sites, this is the 100th launch. It is the Mark II vehicle. called F-15 vehicle. Through that vehicle, we are going to place the second generation navigation satellite NVS-02, which is having our indigenous atomic clock and which is going to be used for lot of purpose, navigation purpose. That is the launch what we are targeted on 29th of this month. So it is going to be a major milestone. A country which started with a very humble beginning almost 62 years back and moving rockets in bicycles that time, and the satellite for experiment through bullock carts. From that era, please imagine, we have come a long way serving the country, and we are going to have the 100th launch. It is thinking itself, it is quite exciting, and it is going to be accomplished. It is a great milestone for the entire country. So every citizen can be proud of that milestone also.
Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto arrived in New Delhi on his first state visit to India. President Prabowo will be the chief guest for India's 76th Republic Day celebrations this year. During his visit, President Subianto will hold bilateral talks with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday. He will also meet President of India Draupadi Murmu. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will also call on the visiting president on Friday. This is President Prabowo's first visit to India in his capacity as president after assuming office in October 2024. The state visit of President Prabowo will provide an opportunity for the leaders to undertake a comprehensive review of bilateral ties as well as to discuss regional and global issues of mutual interest. 10 members of parliament from the opposition party have been suspended from the Joint Parliament Committee on Friday after they created ruckus in a meeting held on the Waqf Amendment Bill 2024. MPs named Asauddin Owaisi, Imran Masood, Kalyan Banerjee, Arvind Sawant, Nasir Hussain, A. Raja, Mohibul Haq, and Nabi ul Haq Mohammad Javed were suspended due to uproar in meeting. BJP MP Nishikant Dubey brought a proposal to suspend the opposition, which Chairman Jagdambika Pal accepted. The Republic Day Parade this year will showcase India's cultural diversity and military prowess with special focus on 75 years of enactment of Constitution and Jan Bhagidari. This year, President of the Republic of Indonesia, Prabowo Subianto, will be the chief guest at the parade. A 160-member marching contingent and 190-member band contingent from Indonesia will take part in the parade at Kartavya Path on January 26, along with the contingents of Indian Armed Forces. This year, 31 tableaux from various states, union territories and central government ministries, departments will participate, displaying the nation's cultural diversity and inclusiveness, showcasing the theme Swarnim Bharat, Virasat or Vikas. Another highlight of the celebration is that this year's Republic Day Parade will be heralded by 300 cultural artists playing Sare Jahan Se Acha in an indigenous mix of musical instruments of different parts of the country to honor their contributions in nation and society building. Special guests from different walks of life are invited as government special guests to witness the event. On this 76th Republic Day Parade, a father-son duo is one of the highlights. Both officers of the Indian Army, with the father Lieutenant General Bhavnish Kumar leading the parade, his son Lieutenant Ahan Kumar would lead the horse contingent of 61 cavalry. DD India correspondent Vishal Baristo brings you this report.
This 76th Republic Day, you'll find a very interesting feature, which is the father-son duo. I have with me Lieutenant General Bhavnish Kumar. He is the parade commander. Along with him is his son. He is leading the horse contingent. So, first of all, sir, how's the feeling? And definitely, it's very interesting.
Of course, for the family, it's a moment of gratitude. We feel very fortunate that our organization has selected me as the parade commander, and he from his regiment has been selected as the contingent commander. So, for a family it becomes a memorable moment.
And I have with me Lieutenant Ahan. Was there a kind of pressure that your father is doing so well and you have to go in the army, and now you will be part of the parade which is being led by your father, Lieutenant General Bhavnish Kumar?
Absolutely not. I had volunteered to join the forces and commanding the parade happens to be a great coincidence. So I would thank the regiment for sending me. That's a proud moment carrying forward the legacy of the family.
So there you heard not the father but the parade commander. With cameraman Kumar Datta in Delhi, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
The last session of Day 2 of the International Conference on Global Election Year 2024, Reiteration of Democratic Spaces, took place in New Delhi. Organized by the Election Commission of India, the event saw the participation of various election commission bodies across the world, sharing their insights on upholding the digital mechanism in conducting elections. Chief Election Commissioner of India, Rajiv Kumar, continued the session and laid down special emphasis on the technology that empowers the democracy that runs on the principles of inclusivity and accessibility.
The power of democracy lies in ensuring that no voice is left unheard. Accessibility and inclusivity must remain at the heart of electoral process, irrespective of the tech insertion in election management. We must use the entire technological innovations to ensure that every voter gets into the roll and is taken from roll to poll. Simplifying voter registration, ensuring accessible polling stations, and offering multilingual voter education are essential steps towards empowering marginalized communities. Technology makes these possible.
In the wake of Wednesday's distressing train accident in Maharashtra, several relief measures have been taken to ensure the well-being and safety of the affected passengers. Immediately after the incident, injured passengers were promptly shifted to nearby hospitals where adequate medical care was ensured. Ex gratia of 50,000 each was given to those with grievous injuries and 5,000 each to those with simple wounds. 9 ambulances were arranged for transporting the deceased to their destinations, and every effort was made to provide care and logistical support. As soon as the death certificates were received, bodies were dispatched. Ex gratia compensation of 5 lakh has been announced for the each kin of the deceased. And now to all the latest from the Mahakumbh, the largest religious gathering of humans on the planet. The ongoing Mahakumbh has witnessed an unprecedented turnout of devotees, with over 100 million people taking a holy dip at the sacred confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati since January 13. The historic milestone was achieved by noon on Thursday, reflecting the immense faith and devotion of sadhus, kalpavasis and pilgrims from around the world. The state government estimates that this Mahakumbh will host over 450 million visitors, and the early achievement of over 100 million bathers reaffirms these projections. Meanwhile, with Mauni Amavasya, the biggest bathing day of the Mahakumbh Mela, approaching on January 29, the authorities have taken initiatives to prevent any security issue or stampede-like situation. As the incoming of devotees in Mahakumbh sees unprecedented numbers every day, the number of Kalpavasis has crossed 1 million. Also, the total number of pilgrims who took the dip in the holy confluence at the Sangam has gone over 3.029 million as on Friday noon. Let's take a look at other stories making news. India's Supreme Court has declined to consider a public interest litigation that sought to repeal the Income Tax Act's tax deducted at source framework. The petition argued that assessors are disproportionately burdened with high administrative costs as a result of the TDS system. Under the Deep Ocean Mission flagship project, India is preparing to launch its first human-driven underwater submersible. The submersible, designed for a depth of up to 500 meters, is expected to launch this year, with plans to extend its reach to 6,000 meters by next year. Students of all ages enthusiastically gathered in the Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir's Baderwa district to participate in the full dress rehearsal for the 76th Republic Day despite the below freezing temperatures. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Oscar nominations announced for 97th Academy Awards. Stay tuned to know more. And we'll give you an update on the ongoing Hockey India League.
Timeless, boundless, and infinite. The essence of faith, the soul of Sanatan culture, from the sacred confluence of Prayag, where divinity descends to earth. Witness the grandeur, the devotion, the magic. World's largest cultural and spiritual gathering, with over 450 million devotees expected to attend. Mahakumbh, India's greatest festival of faith. Exclusively on DD India. Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
You're watching DD Indian News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. The nominations for the 97th Academy Awards were announced on Thursday at the Academy's Samuel Goldwyn Theatre in Beverly Hills, California. Actor, writer, comedians Rachel Sennott and Bobin Yang revealed the nominees in all 23 categories, including live presentation. While most nominations came as no surprise, a few caught moviegoers off guard. Dipanshu Kashyap reports on the upcoming ceremony.
Moviegoers and cinephiles are eagerly anticipating the event of the year as the Oscar nominations for all 23 categories of the 97th Academy Awards were announced. The nomination ceremony began with Academy President and CEO offering condolences for the victims of the ongoing wildfires in Southern California. Leading the pack this year is the Spanish-language musical Emilia Perez, which garnered 13 nominations. Close behind are the post-Holocaust drama The Brutalist and The Wizard of Oz prequel Wicked, each securing 10 nominations. Also in the race with 8 nominations are the Bob Dylan biopic A Complete Unknown and the drama Conclave. Additionally, the Hindi-language short film Anuja earned a nomination in the Best Live-Action Short Film category. While many nominations came as no surprise, given the film's success at the previous award shows like the Golden Globes, a few nods did catch fans off guard. Some anticipated contenders were snubbed, leaving audiences both pleased and disappointed. The award ceremony will take place on March 3rd, with comedian Conan O'Brien set to host. Dipanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
Bangladesh's economy is grappling with skyrocketing interest payments, which eat up more than half of government revenue expenses during the first 4 months of the current fiscal year of 2024-25. Economic experts said that Bangladesh's external debt, over $100 billion with highest interest rates, mounts grim challenges for the economy of the country, considering slowing earning capacity in terms of both revenue and foreign exchange of Bangladesh. The growing financial burden of Bangladesh can be attributed to a shift in the country's borrowing practices. Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund has deferred the release of fourth tranche of Bangladesh's $4.7 billion budget support loan, primarily due to not meeting the target of revenue collection set for the National Board of Revenue. You're watching DD Indian News Hour. Time now for sport, and the day 2 of Khelo India Winter Games 2025 is underway in Leh, with skating and ice hockey events taking the center stage. In the ice skating event, Nayana, in fact Shri Talluri, secured the first rank in the final of women's category, while Pratiksha Swarupa Kad Deshmukh and Kalpana Kuttappa secured the second, third and fourth rank respectively. On day 1, UT Ladakh team were the highlight as they outsmarted Rajasthan team 20-0 in the first round of ice hockey event. Chandigarh ice skating team is competing for the first time in Khelo India Winter Games. The young girls are national level players in roller hockey, and while speaking with DD India, they share about the transition to this winter sports. Abhishek Mahajan speaks with them in an exclusive chat. Have a look.
We are at Leh for Khelo India Winter Games, and I have with me ice skating team of Chandigarh. They have been doing well, and in fact they play roller skating also. They have all been part of the Indian team in roller skating. In fact, they have all played nationals in roller skating, and now they are playing ice skating here in Leh. I have with me Shivani, Ritika and Nandini. Shivani, first of all, tell us about the experience of playing here in Leh.
So first of all, when the experience that we got here, it is immense. I don't think we have experienced anything like this before. We are very thankful to Khelo India for inviting us to play here, and yes, the experience was very amazing, very good.
All right, Ritika, how difficult was it to shift from roller skating to ice skating? I'm sure, there is a difference. Skates are completely different. How has been the experience of playing here, and also how difficult was it to shift from roller skating to ice skating?
Yeah, it's quite difficult to make balance on ice skates. So the boys and girls are struggling. They have done some sessions, but still they are trying to make good balance. And hope so next time we'll give better performance. Yeah.
Nandini, you think it is a big platform, Khelo India Winter Games, a big platform for young athletes as well as the experienced athletes to play at the same place, same arena, because when you play with experienced players, you get a lot of confidence, especially for youngsters. It's a big platform.
Absolutely, I believe, because it also encourages grassroots athletes to come up, because when you see such a great platform which is taking care of everything, be it finances, food and everything, which is doing everything for yourself, you want to give it an effort, and it's like you see so many people performing so well, it just boosts your morale to, okay, I also want to do good, I also want to give my 100%.
Are you happy with the facilities provided by Sports Authority of India, Khelo India Winter Games Management?
Sir, I'm very happy with the facilities that they have provided. We got the accommodation, we got the flight tickets, we got the travelling. We have a bus that takes care of the travelling, and we don't really have to do much. We just have to take care of the time when is the match, and everything is on time. And then the bus is there, the food is there, and the accommodation is there. It is very amazing.
Well, with cameraman Shubham Sharma, this is Abhishek Mahajan in Leh for DD India.
All right, and DD India's Abhishek Mahajan joins us live from Leh now. Hi Abhishek, a very good afternoon. Seems like you're enjoying the event. How's it going on?
Julie, Siddharth, yes, like we said in the report also, skating competitions took place, and as far as medal tally is concerned, Siddharth, Karnataka has won 2 medals. Tamil Nadu, Telangana and Maharashtra, they have won 1 medal each, and Telangana is at the top because they have won the gold medal in short track, which is 500 meters skating. But yes, Siddharth, games are going quite well. Ice hockey medals will take time because there are different rounds. So after the round 3, semi-finals and finals will take place. And UT Ladakh is on a roll so far. They had defeated Rajasthan 20-0 yesterday, and they defeated Chandigarh today by the margin of 6 goals. And when we speak to the athletes, Siddharth, they all talk about the facilities here. They are happy with the facilities. They are getting the hotels. They are getting a good infrastructure here. And like we spoke with the Chandigarh girls also, they used to play roller ice hockey, and the transition has been difficult. But yes, this is their first season. But what else do you need to promote sports, Siddharth? They have got the platform of Khelo India Winter Games. And yes, this is their first season, but when they play the next year, they'll improve their performance. And that's what Khelo India Winter Games or Khelo India is all about, promoting sports at the grassroots level. And also, Siddharth, it is being telecast on DD Sports when the viewership increases, and there are a lot of people who are here at the stadium to watch them play. So the viewership will also increase. People are here watching them, and they're almost enjoying, they're actually enjoying the game. So this is what you need to promote the sports. 12 states, 5 union territories, 2 institution teams are taking part. I'm sure this is going to go a long way, and that's why we call Leh Ladakh the winter capital of the winter sports, and also Gulmarg, Kashmir as the hub of winter sports. It's going to go great guns. It's going to go better, it's going to improve, and I'm sure the participation has increased in the last 5 years, and participation will increase in the coming years. And like Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, sports minister, also said that he advises the athletes to don't be concerned about the medals, just give your 100%, intent should be there, and go out there and play, give your 100%, and don't worry about the results or medals. So that's what you need from the management. That's what you need from the higher
I want to ask you that,
and this is what Khelo India
if you can
is all about, Siddharth.
Indeed, Abhishek, I want to ask you that it's a sigh of relief when it comes to temperature there. Sun is shining bright. I think smiles are on people's faces. Is there something unique which you have seen or you have witnessed in Khelo India Winter Games, Abhishek? Something very unique?
Yes, Siddharth, sun is playing hide and seek today, but yes, temperature is a little better today. It's -7 degrees right now. It had reached -21 day before. It was snowing yesterday, but yes, a little sigh of relief today. But yes, a lot of unique things here. I mean, we showed you, we have been sending the visuals of the picturesque view, pristine views, and also, Siddharth, adaptation. I mean, adapting to the conditions was the biggest challenge for the athletes. At least you need 2-3 days to acclimatize to the conditions, and hats off to the athletes, Siddharth. I mean, the skates that they have, we have sent the report also, where we have shown how underneath the shoe they put a blade which is called the Winter Games skates. So walking with them is quite difficult. I mean, forget about playing. And seldom people know that ice hockey is not played with the ball, it's played with a puck. So that's what we have been repeatedly talking about, that it's been telecast on DD Sports and viewership has also increased. And that's how
definitely. And these athletes are dealing with all the situations.
This is what
and then
Khelo India Winter Games is all about. Yes.
Definitely, Abhishek. I hope you take care of yourself. And I hope, like I always said, you are enjoying the Khelo India Winter Games. Do take care of yourself and keep sending us good reports like you always do. Thank you so much. In what has come as a big shock, 7th seed Novak Djokovic retired mid-match due to injury, resulting in Alexander Zverev's walkover to the final of Australian Open. The 24-time Grand Slam champion was already fighting the injury during the match, and he decided to withdraw after dropping the first set 7-6. This saw Zverev making it to the final and keeping his hopes alive of winning a maiden slam title after a decade of trying. It was an intense first set, as was expected, with no breaks coming for either player. Finally, Alexander Zverev won the tiebreaker, and Djokovic immediately turned to the chair umpire and retired from the match. Meanwhile, Australians Olivia Gadecki and John Peers battled back from a set down to clinch the Australian Open mixed doubles title on Saturday. The Australia duo defeated compatriots Kimberly Birrell and John Patrick Smith 3-6, 6-4, 10-6 in the mixed doubles final. At Melbourne Park, Gadecki and Peers stepped up a gear to level the contest in a tight second set before going on to win the 10-point tiebreaker. They now become the 4th Australian duo in the Open era to win the mixed doubles title at the tournament. Delhi SG Pipers signed out of the inaugural edition of Women's Hockey India League with a shootout win over Odisha Warriors in Ranchi on Thursday. Odisha also became the first team to enter the final of Women's Hockey League, having secured a point from the shootout. The Pipers, meanwhile, will end their tournament in the league stage with 5 points from 6 matches. Meanwhile, in men's hockey, David Harte had a storming game in goal, leading Tamil Nadu Dragons to a thrilling 4-3 penalty shootout win over the Hyderabad Tufans in Pool B encounter. The win has propelled Tufans to the top of the standings. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Prasar Bharati from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.